yes, I think with Dune, one of the things I really liked about Dune is, especially throughout my youth, a lot of the franchises that have had big blockbuster movies have been franchises that I've been very, very familiar with. So I wasn't
Okay.
getting any new surprises. So stuff like Harry Potter, stuff like
Lord of
Star
the
Wars,
Rings.
stuff like Lord of the Rings, stuff like the Marvel MCU. This is stuff I all was very, very familiar with, and I read throughout my formative years. Dune was a complete unknown, and it's very rare that quite niche. It's not Dune isn't even a niche franchise. Dune just is an older franchise that wasn't
Right.
in my remit growing up. So it was just nice to go into a big blockbuster sci-fi movie, not knowing anything.
Right.
Like I was just saying, okay, the trailer looks cool. I like the poster. Let me go in and watch this. Which makes it feel completely different from the MCU, because within the MCU, it always feels like the characters are kind of navigating within confines that I'm already very aware of and that have already been long established. Whereas, yeah, man, I didn't know anything about and I found myself with Dune. One of the things about like a good movie is you end up going to read up on that movie. So like one of the things I spent days and days like after that, like so many dozens of hours just reading into like the different aspects of Dune, like because some of the stuff in the movie I wanted more elaboration on. I wanted to know better about the story. So yeah, I think Dune was quite nice, and I hadn't felt like that ever since I watched World of Warcraft.
Okay.
If you want to go for like a Warcraft analogy, I would have gone for Arcane
Oh.
on Netflix, which
Why does everyone like that?
Arcane
I
was
haven't watched
so good. I love animation, love series, like animated series, like Arcane's animated series on Netflix, based on I completely forgot what the game is.
It's not League of Legends.
It is. That's
it's League of Legends.
based on League of
Right,
Legends,
okay,
but
right,
it's like
right.
a prequel story. But
Right,
it's
right, right.
really, really good. Really, it's brilliant. Really, really well done.
Can we just talk about that, because I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I was watching look, I tried. I watched 4 episodes. I think there are 10 of them. I don't know. I didn't find it so special. I just feel like this is kind of like the story wasn't anything like particularly unique. There was some good animation which looks nice, but apart from that, I'm just like I don't see what I'm looking at.
What do you guys think the future for Netflix is? Because for someone who like has stock, their stock has been all over the place the last year, and like in terms of like where the trajectory for them is going, they are entering a phase where they're going to have exponentially more competition for brands and for franchises than they've ever had before.
Okay.
So and like Disney Plus is not going to stop. Amazon Prime is not going to stop.
But I would not conflate the fact they don't stop with their success. Disney Plus has a major issue. The MCU, Star Wars have major problems. They like the MCU churns out so much content. Nothing feels like an event. You know, I looked at the photos that came out of Comic-Con, you know, of Marvel Phase 5 and Phase 4 and Phase 6, and I was like, you know, what's a film? What's a TV series? There's no massive distinction. So actually, it feels like it's Marvel all the time, which you would think sounds good, but actually, the thing you really loved was that it was an event. Like everyone remembers I don't know, this might be a big statement, but when you first saw that very first Avengers movie, and they had the little spinning camera shot, and you each every single one of their weapons like charge on it ready, you're like, this is the Avengers. That was great. You know, I get that every week in your pajamas.
Yeah.
Right? You can watch another superhero, another
It's just a
disappointing
spin-off,
story, another spin-off, another this, another that. So, and then you look at Star Wars, right? You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi was not good.
Right.
And as controversial as that may sound to some people, that was a tortured story for one very simple reason. We know where it has to go and where it has to end, but they built no jeopardy into that storyline. But they are pumping out more and more content from this franchise. I came to Star Wars really late. As a child, I had the first 3 episodes. 1, 2, and 3 those were my Star Wars films as a kid. I didn't watch any of them. I used to fall asleep watching Star Wars. Terrible. Pandemic, I was like, I'm gonna watch Star Wars from the beginning. I started by watching 1 and 2, and then Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. And if it wasn't for Dave Filoni and Clone Wars, I would hate Star Wars. I would continue to hate it. But I saw something special and magic in it. And so watching Obi-Wan now, watching Boba Fett, I'm like, this is not right. This is boring. Because even with Clone Wars, Clone Wars is 7 seasons. We know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
But they're not telling us anything new. And so storylines are just dead. It's
You
just
feel the
money.
same about The Mandalorian?
Just
The
rubbish.
Mandalorian 1 and 2. See, I like Mandalorian 1 and
didn't
2.
see that.
However, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan,
It's like
old
the
men
same
walking around with
thing.
children, and what's
It's like-
going on? Like, like, why is the story like the same? Some old reluctant man looking after some kind of child. Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?
I think you asked
That-
an interesting question
but
about
that-
Netflix,
but
though,
that-
because
that
they've got a
being
bunch
said,
of stuff there going
that
on.
the limitations of the artistic elements of Disney do not take away from the economic machine. That's why I said they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop feeding you. Like
But they are
irrespective-
cannibalizing themselves.
Yeah,
It's like
but I think they have a lot of content to cannibalize. They have big franchises.
Hold on. Can I just derail for a second?
Go ahead.
Can we finish the end of the films and then get back to
Oh, go ahead,
the,
go ahead,
the
go ahead,
Netflix
yeah.
discussion
Yeah, that's fine.
afterwards? That's useful. So Dune was there, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
in regard to your point about Dune, right? I think like I understand why people may not have liked it. Like everyone, like the people I saw talking about it really enjoyed it, right?
Mhm.
I get why people may not enjoy it. They've started filming the next one. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it 6 times again probably. So I think that's like a really good plus point.
I can understand. I really like Dune, but I can understand why some people would not like Dune because it takes you on this very emotional journey. But by the time the movie finishes, you're like, okay, nothing has been solved.
Right.
it definitely feels like part one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
definitely feels like
And
that.
I really applaud them for taking it because I like having read for example, I use Hunger Games. Having read the Hunger Games,
Yeah.
I think the mistake they made is splitting the last book
Into
and
two.
not the first book. Because the first book could have been
Really?
a really like strong dystopian future, terrible, and she volunteers as I volunteer as tribute, and you stop there, and the second film could have been like this massive spectacular of the battle in the arena, and I think you would have had 2 very different price films. But the
Yeah.
problem is, you may not get from the first film to the second film is not popular enough.
Right.
However, they split the last book, and I think it was pointless, and I think it was really brave to tell June and to split this story as the way it should be told, and not give us a complete nice Hollywood ribboned off ending. It's like, where to next? Where the hell are they going? What is going to happen next? And that I thought was brave, but also showed a real strong command over telling the story they should tell out of this bigger franchise.
Can you acknowledge that? I think we can understand the beauty of that as like film buffs. But for the average person, I think the average person might leave.
No, but
I think
they
the
enjoyed
average-
the film. Like the actual film was a good film, so the
But I
average
think-
person will still
I
enjoy
think
that.
why maybe Dune didn't make, because like why it's critically applauded, but why it didn't make the commercial splash that it did. I think maybe it's because like it very much so, you can very much so tell that this is a unfinished story. This is probably comes from one book that has been chopped into.
I don't think that's true because I think what you're talking about is having seen the movie, but it doesn't give you like a kind of like neat, this is the end,
Yeah.
the road from sunset kind of ending. But if you haven't seen the film, if you're not going to see the movie, the issue is not the ending. The issue is what gets you into cinema. And I think it was your earlier point, which is people don't know Dune as a franchise.
Okay.
So if you bear in mind the average moviegoer goes to see less than one film a month, right? That means they might go and see a film every couple of months. Those people don't go to cinema as often as we do, right? And so they go, well, I might go to cinema once these 2 or 3 months. Is it going to be this thing I've never heard of? Or
Right.
actually,
Right.
I've got this big
That's the
film
question,
coming down the line. I know it's a Harry Potter, or it's an MCU, or it's a DC, or it's this other big Goliath of a franchise I already know. I'll go into that. I'll catch this one on TV, and I think what you'll see is the secondary market for Dune, I think, has been quite strong, and therefore people's word of mouth are like, this is a really good film, has been strong. So when they make the next movie, I think it will be a very different story.
And they've actually.
How many movies have they greenlit?
I think it's going to be 3, but I don't know yet. They've cast Florence Pugh in the next one, and I'm not a big fan of her, so who knows?